Welcome to Game of Roses. Joining us today, we have a very special guest. She came into a little program called the Golden Bachelor with 28 Instagram followers, not 28,000, 28. She currently has 17.2 thousand Instagram followers. Finishing
what times is that?
What's that?
Use your brain. How many times multiplied is that?
I have no idea. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a big number. She finished in place 4th through 6th, depending on how you look at it, eliminated in the rose ceremony just before hometowns. Please welcome Sandra Mason. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, you've done your homework.
You have no idea.
Yeah, all we could.
That's all we do here is homework at Game of Roses. So we want to talk to you a little bit about before you came into Golden Bachelor. Obviously, everybody knows you from Golden Bachelor and everything that you did in the franchise. But before you were in the Golden Bachelor, did you watch a lot of reality TV?
No, I did watch the Bachelor franchise, though, from
Alex
the very
Michelle.
first, from Alex to Tristan and forward, but not a lot of other reality TV.
Wow.
Did you watch every season since?
Yes, ma'am. I was a fan.
Oh my! You're a super fan.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
that's fascinating. Now let me ask you this: in that, I mean,
no one
we
even
view
knows
the
who
show.
Alex Michelle is.
Yeah, that's true.
Chad's looking for him.
I will find him. We view the show as a game, like a professional sport, basically. And we look at all the different kind of mechanics of the game and boil them down to mathematical metrics. And we use those strategies to train people to go into the game and play at very high levels. In all of your watching, did it ever come to you at all that this is kind of a game that you can win?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Metrics? What?
Interesting.
No, I was a television fan, not someone who dissected everything. I just loved the show and loved how they produced the dates and the matchups with the guys with the gals and vice versa, and being in love with love and young folks falling and all that. No, it never got that technical for me.
All right. What was your favorite season?
If you're shipping love, how did you feel when Alex Michelle and Amanda Marsh broke up?
Okay, okay. Whose question first?
Sorry.
I was just asking you, who is your favorite season of all the seasons you've watched?
Oh boy. Well, I liked Matt James.
Okay, fair.
And Rachel. I like that relationship. Let's see. God, there's so many you guys. I don't know if I can name a favorite. I like Joey and Kelsey. I love Charity and Dotton. Let's see. One of my other favorite couples, of course, is Zach and Katie. So those are all kind of the latest
recent ones,
more recent ones, exactly.
All right.
So even though you were very familiar with game shows,
yes,
let's say you did not consider Bachelor a game show.
No.
Interesting.
No, I didn't consider it that when I watched it as a fan, nor did I consider it when I became a participant. I didn't see it as a game show. I perceive this as an opportunity to find a mate and have someone else do all the work of potential. Someone's gonna vet and cast 20-something people, or in my case, just the opposite. Hey, let them do the work.
I love that. Do you have any experience with other types of matchmaking?
Well, I've done online dating. Does that count?
Kind of.
Yeah.
I'm getting married to someone I met on Hinge.
Oh, good.
So
good
I love online dating.
Outstanding.
You're your own matchmaker, I guess, or the algorithm is the matchmaker.
Yeah, the robots did their work.
The robots. So this previous interest in game shows, we learned that you were on not only Wheel of Fortune, but the Newlywed Game. Did any of these shows that you were on, even if they're not like the same type of show, did they prepare you for going into Golden Bachelor at all?
Maybe from the standpoint of there being cameras all around.
Yeah.
And lots of people, the crew, not knowing what all these people do. They're all buzzing around, and they've got to function. And so there's a lot of activity that is not just the Bachelor folks. The cast.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps that, all the lights, time frames, or TV is very specific when it comes to time frames. If they've got 32
like when
seconds,
you're
it
shooting.
isn't 33. It's 32.
Yeah.
Boom, it cuts off. Probably just like your podcast.
No,
I would say
we
we're
have no
more
time constraint.
loosey-goosey with the
Oh, okay.
Here, that doesn't matter as much.
I
But
guess
think,
we have like goal targets.
Sure.
But your daughter also, if I'm not mistaken, is an editor in entertainment.
Yes, she is. Aw.
Yeah.
I think you've done your homework.
yeah, we
we've
looked
done
up
a
some of her
lot.
credits. She's cut some big movies, or at least worked in the editorial department on some huge stuff like Dune and Blade Runner,
We love
the
Dune.
Denis
Yes.
Villeneuve movies.
Yes. She worked on Billy Porter's Pose.
Mm-hmm.
She was editor there.
Oh,
She worked on
wow.
20s, I guess it was called. She's done a lot. Of course, you
Prolific.
She's an Emmy winner. You know that, I
Yeah.
guess. Twice.
What?
Yeah, it's
oh
fantastic.
my gosh.
Did she-
Congrats. That's cool.
Did she have any opinions on how your show was edited, how Golden Bachelor was edited?
Oh.
She never said so, but there would be times when I was watching some of the episodes, and I'd call her and I'd say, "What do you think of this?" And she said, "Well, Mom, you knew they were going to print that, or they were going to show that. It could, blah blah blah, but nothing technical."
Okay. They do
nothing.
a process, and they did it on Golden Bachelor quite often. They do a process called Frankenbiting, where they will take people's audio from, like, how you have to do an ITM in the moment when you're sitting
Yes.
there direct addressing the camera. They'll
Yes.
take something that you say in an ITM,
Yes.
cut syllables out of it, create an entirely new sentence, and then play it over the back of your head in a dialogue scene with someone else. They do
Yes.
that pretty
I'm
constantly.
happy for my
So I
date
found
with
out.
Teresa.
Yeah. So I was just curious if your daughter
found
recognized
out?
that stuff or had any opinions on it.
Oh, no, we never talked about it from a technical perspective.
Interesting.
No, she didn't have those kinds of opinions. She was just very proud of me and
Sure.
Aw.
was a cheerleader. She had her watch parties, 2 or 3 ladies to get together.
Mhm.
And
Cute.
so
Did you do watch parties before going on with your family?
Did I
like-
have?
Yeah, for watching Bachelor.
No, just a
No.
couple of girlfriends and I would be on the phone, but not in the same room.
I'll count that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Dad and I sometimes have watched things together on Zoom. I think
yes,
it counts.
we've watched every episode of Bachelor also on 2 times speed and meticulously recorded every kiss, every tear, every rose, literally every play that's ever been made in order to write a book about how to win this game.
Yeah, I heard
Homework.
about your book.
Oh, really? Tell us
Yes.
more. How'd you hear about it?
I mean, one of my castmates apparently read your book and talked about it. We didn't know there was such a thing. Okay.
Oh,
Who read the
my
book?
gosh.
I can't tell you. I'm not going to tell you that.
I'm so
If
curious.
you don't know, I'm not going to tell you. But
Okay, fair
I have
enough.
my suspects.
so one day I'm going to read that though. That's very
Yeah.
interesting. Very.
I mean, I
interesting.
think it look, when we say it's a game and it's a sport, we don't discount the fact that people obviously find love and find their soulmates and stuff in the show. There are plenty of people, you just listed a whole bunch of them who are still together in happy relationships that met through the show. Some of them have kids. They've been married for decades in some cases, or at least a decade roughly in Sean Lowe's case or Trista's case. To us, it's like they're the same thing. Finding love necessarily means you have to be good at the game parts of it. You have to figure out how to navigate this weird minefield that the producers are setting up for you on the group dates, or who's going to get this rose or that rose, or how they're trying to, position
'Cause
you
you'll be
against
cut
a villain or whatever.
if you're
Yeah.
not good TV, even if you have
Exactly.
a romantic connection.
Yeah. And so you have to be good at both. If you have feelings for the person, you have to be good at navigating this weird game to get to the end to actually wind up with that person.
I guess in a way you're
For
right.
us.
Right. I personally never looked at this show as competition.
Yeah.
Even with the young folks were when it first started. I don't look at relationships that are one guy and two gals or whatever as competition. I perceive it. If a guy's interested in me, he's interested. If I'm interested in him, I'm interested. Never mind who's in the picture. A matter of fact, when I had the chat with Daisy, I don't know if you saw that during.
Yes, you were one of the fairy golden godmothers on that season.
Well, one of the things she and I talked about, I'm not sure it aired, was I told her, don't worry about Kelsey or whoever is left. You can't control that. All you can control is what you and Joey have. And work with that, dissect it if you have to, but work with that. Because if he's interested in her or more interested in her than he is, there's nothing you can do about that. Just be you. Let him know how you feel. Let him know it physiologically what you might want to do and bring to the table with him.
Wait, what did you tell Daisy to do with Joey? You said consummate?
If she was going into the fantasy suites, just be open and don't worry about it.
I agree with you. Love is not a finite resource, and like theoretically the best connection will win out. I do think there are things that you can do to maximize your time with the person that could affect it.
There's also
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say there's another component of it, though, that is like whoever the lead is, usually on night one, picks their top three. And so then if you're in a season with like, let's say 25 players, there are now 22 players that the producers are arranging their order of dismissal or trying to get them embroiled in a rivalry with a potential villain or, you know, whatever might make what they call, in quotes, good TV. These kind of like narratives. So part of the game is that, too. It's like recognizing that the lead doesn't actually like me. The lead has picked these three people. I know they're going to make it far. I now have to figure out how to stay on this show, which means working with the producers, which means working with the other players and figuring out like what kind of character are you willing to play? That's like another component of the game, you know?
I mean, your season, I would say, was kind of unusual because there was no real villain. At least no one seemed to get a real villain edit. But I imagine you might be worried about that if you have watched since the beginning, because every season has a villain.
Well, okay, can I say something about that? First of all,
please.
You said that the lead gets three people or gets three choices. I think they get more than that. Okay.
How many?
Oh, sure. It's you know, per season, it can differ a little bit. And those choices can change, too, throughout the season. Obviously, mines can change. But from what we've heard in all the different podcasts and various bachelors and bachelorettes who have talked kind of about this, I mean, Nick Viall has famously said he picked his ring winner on night one. The person who was going to win the whole show. And so the rest of it is just arranging deck chairs, you know. But yeah, I think
that was Nick. Maybe some of the guys, some of the ladies. There are 2 or 3 or 5 possibilities.
Sure.
You know,
100%.
From one night, like limo night, when the chats are 2-3 minutes and next. So
you got to check the physiological play first.
I couldn't select that on a first night. I couldn't narrow it down to 3 people, but maybe some people can. I don't know.
And I think the bachelorettes tend to be a little bit more, you know, I don't want to say using like reason, but I think they have a higher success rate in picking their ring winners than perhaps the bachelors.
Yeah, they do statistically, of course.
Boy, he's all about numbers and
picking someone that stays.
Yeah, well, there will be now 29 seasons of Bachelor starting in January with Grant Ellis. There have been 21 seasons of Bachelorette. There have been 9 seasons of Paradise. There were 3 seasons of Bachelor Pad, 2 seasons of Winter Games, 1 season of Listen to Your Heart. That's enough data to form meaningful metrics, in my opinion.
We've only done it for The Bachelor, though, to be clear.
Where'd you get this guy?
Exactly. Sandra, you don't even know the half of it. You do not even know the half of this man's beautiful mind.
Oh, my God.
Listen, this has been like a side project for us. We are TV comedy writers. We met in the writer's room of this show 10 years ago called Bad Judge that was on NBC and discovered that we liked reality TV together. And so we started hanging out, watching the shows, and eventually this podcast and our book and all this stuff came out of that.
Wow. So, do you have like spreadsheets?
Yes.
You're in our data grid. I looked at our data grid for you. I was looking at the plays that you did all season. But let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
You were recruited by producers to come on?
Well,
or did you apply? Or
I applied on Zach's season. They had on the screen. No, we're casting for seniors. Go to abc.com/whatever it was, and
wow,
I applied.
The casting card got you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
they
did
work.
you know in that process? Did you know it was going to be Gerry Turner as the first Golden Bachelor?
No, we didn't know it was going to be Gerry Turner until July 17th when you found out.
Oh wow!
When they introduced him on Good Morning America, that's when the world found out is when we found out.
That's pretty fascinating.
You're like, I'm still gonna go.
Oh, I was so vetted by then. If he was an ogre, I would have gone. But I mean, I signed all kinds of paperwork. I tell you. So no, that's when I saw him, and I thought he's a nice looking gent, and yeah.
Interesting.
I especially liked the hearing aids. I thought, my God, they're so good at casting because isn't that so?
Oh, I loved that.
It's so not normal, but it's not a turnoff when you're 71 years old that you might have hearing aids. And as you know, two of my castmates, the ladies, also wore hearing aids. Did you know that, Mr. Nicole?
We did know that because someone said, who was it? FEMA said she liked to turn them off to ignore
Did
people.
you know someone else had a hearing aid, though?
Who else was it? I don't know.
What?
Is it yours?
Was it in the show?
Okay, you've got to key that into your matrix. Okay,
it's somewhere in our spreadsheet.
We'll start
I'll go back and look after this.
I'll
do an in-depth dive into research.
Nancy also had a hearing aid. I think just one.
Oh,
but
okay.
Nancy.
Yeah. No, I mean that was like to us. That first season of Golden Bachelor, like nobody really knew what to expect with the show. Was it going to be a flop? Was it going to be amazing? It turned out it was amazing. I thought it was produced so well. Amazing. And it's exactly what you're saying. It's kind of normalizing these things that happen to everybody when we get a little bit older. I just had to buy my first pair of reading glasses the other day because my eyes are starting to go, And
Does that mean you're 40? At least 40?
At least. We'll say at least, yes.
They call that presbyopia. Have you heard that?
Yeah,
silver.
that's literally what the doctor told me.
What does that mean?
Your eyes just start getting bad. You start
they just go.
Yeah, for me specifically, I can't see things up close anymore without it being a little blurry. At any rate, I thought that was one of the strengths of that season.
100% agree. Like, our society is super ageist, and I feel like the show was incredibly important for that and the visibility of stuff like this. The hearing aid, like, that was a point of contention in my family with one of my grandparents refused and then was basically just checked out of all conversation. I would just pretend he heard stuff and just be like,
Smart.
And I'm
I like this strategy.
I wish it had been more like acceptable and at that time. But
yeah, they also did a great job, I thought, on that season of like Lizzie was saying earlier, there was no real villain. There was that one moment where Kathy and Teresa Niss kind of got into it, the zip it moment. But beyond, and even that was like funny. They presented that, I thought, in a comedic way. So nobody was really a villain, and they made it, in my opinion, it was very much like a sisterhood of all of you women who came into this strange experience. The first season of any show kind of dictates whether or not it happens again. And I thought you guys all did such a great job, and the producers did such a great job of presenting it. That obviously there was Golden Bachelorette, and now they're casting for Golden Bachelor season 2, which will be out next year. Hopefully it'll be Charles. But yeah, I just thought that it was, in my opinion, at the time it came out, it was the best Bachelor franchise season that had ever been made.
Oh, wow. Look at you. Very good. Yeah, but did you notice both Golden Bachelor and Golden Bachelorette, the level of maturity, I think, dictated the lack or the absence of controversy and cliques and
absolutely
drama, and we were getting along. I mean, my God, when you reach age 60, if you're not getting along with other people, something is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think too, there's a thing to be said for the fact that in the regular Bachelor and Bachelorette, where you have people who are 30 on either side of 30, basically, a lot of those players are coming into the game thinking this will be like the beginning of my life, whether that's romantically, I'm going to find my partner, or professionally, this is maybe going to launch an influencer career, or at least open some doors for me to be able to do other things. Once you're, again, in your 60s, you're potentially retired, you've had some kind of relationship in your life, whether you were married or had some kind of significant thing. So you're not looking to like start your life in the same way. So it's more of just like a fun experience that you're going to go do. There's not like as much riding on the outcome of it, you know? And I think that came across too. It just seemed like all of you were much more relaxed and kind of just like, let's have a good time. And
more perspective.
Yeah.
And get to know one another and appreciate the fact that this is an opportunity that out of 35,000 applicants, by the way, 35,000 applicants.
Wow.
We
I didn't
were
know
the
that.
fortunate 23.
Gosh.
So we all were very proud of ourselves.
Yeah.
And so there was a bonding that was
should be proud.
Organic. It happened.
Such a brave thing to do, especially on the first season. Like,
Yes.
The first season is always the guinea pig. You don't know what, and especially like you've watched every season of The Bachelor and Bachelorette, you know those producers can do some real bad shit to people. And so I can't imagine like walking into that, what it must have felt like. And yeah, I just think all of you did such an incredible job.
Yeah. Although here's the thing, and maybe because you are looking at it from a more technical perspective, I never looked at the producers do bad things.
Interesting.
I never looked at it as, okay, that's a producer thing. I just looked at it as people misbehaving or being tacky. I didn't know or didn't perceive that the producers set that argument up. Or
what do you think about Champagne Gate on Pilot Pete's season?
I didn't hear you, sorry.
How do you explain Champagne Gate from Pilot Pete's season?
I can't. But again, I didn't look at it. Oh, gee, a producer might have, or the powers that be might have created that. I just didn't.
That's interesting.
I'll bet most viewers don't look at it the way you two do.
100%.
Yeah.
And Chad and I are constantly arguing about this. I think most people look at it the way you do, Sandra.
Yeah.
And the amount who see through it is.
I mean, I have, at this point, I'll simply say I have seen certain documents that. All I can say is I have seen documents that are proof beyond the shadow of a doubt that there is a constant conversation happening behind the scenes between producers to position people, if they like you, in the best possible light, and if they don't, to get you into fights, to make you look bad, to set you up for nervous breakdowns and disaster. That 100% happens.
Golden.
And you've seen that in writing, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Are you like the person behind Reality Steve or what?
No.
How do you see all that stuff?
I can't reveal my sources or anything like that, but yeah, it's.
I imagine that's not for Golden though.
No, Golden is a different phrase. It's produced by different people.
Different.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It's a slightly different crop of producers. But while you were in the show, you had this limo exit that was kind of iconic. It was iconic to say the least. Yes, you come out and you force Gerry Turner to do a Zen meditation with you that involves cussing, saying the word fuck again and again. Did you have to vet this through producers? Did you tell them that's what you wanted to do? And if so they didn't know.
This is your idea.
But it was kind of a consortium of ideas of an idea. So it wasn't their idea and it wasn't my idea. We kind of worked through it.
Right. Well, it was great.
So good. The comedic timing on it is so perfect. And I feel like maybe, I don't know if it's consciously or not, but there have been so many limo exits where people like take a deep breath and like hold hands and take a deep breath, but in like a serious fashion. So like the spin on that trope was just, it was one of my favorite limo exits. I loved it.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to hear that.
No,
I know you said on Bachelor Happy Hour that the young people liked it and the old people didn't.
Well, not all, but most of the negative came from people of my generation.
Yeah.
Cursing for them as a no-no. But like my kids thought, hey, Mom, that was so cool. And they loved it and they got street cred with their friends. And so I think the younger generation is more accepting of a four-letter word than, But hey, I meet people all the time here at home who say, I loved your limo exit. And they're my age. So,
It really was like an icebreaker to America because when we tuned in to watch that show, I was very curious about like what the tone of it was going to be. You know, is it going to be super serious and like it's all about love and the emotions are running deep and running high, or would it be funny? And when you came out and did that limo X, I was like, oh, this show's going to be funny as hell. And, you know, and that's great. I think it didn't take itself too seriously, but when it needed to, it was very serious. And I think you were a big part of like, you know, kind of the comedic tone of the entire season, really.
I can be funny sometimes. Have you seen my Instagram? You seen my Instagram?
We have seen
Have you heard my corny jokes?
We have seen the joke
They're
corner.
So corny that they're funny.
The diary entries. I love it. I literally don't even know the technology that you've used to make some of this content. I'm so impressed. I was looking up your to find a limo exit video, and I found it on the Bachelor TikTok account. 404,000 views on that video.
What? I didn't know
on
that.
On your limo exit.
Wait a minute. 404,000? I had no idea.
Yeah.
What?
Probably the young
people loved it. It was, I think, the best limo
I'm
exit.
in shock. Okay, let me calm down. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a TikToker, so I don't know how to even go there.
Yeah. You got to get on TikTok.
How about this thing called Reddit? Somebody said Reddit was, I appear to be positively welcomed on Reddit.
I mean, enter the Bachelor subreddit at your own peril. I'll say
Don't
that.
Go there.
Hey, I got to tell you guys.
Everything's positive.
The night I left the show, the producer came and said, okay, I need you to establish an Instagram account. And I said, what for? And he said, well, Sandra, people are going to want to know who you are and you might be able to be an influencer. I said, what's an influencer? On and on. I mean, this was a whole world. I had no.
You didn't have an Instagram?
I had one because my kids said, Mommy, get an Instagram, but I never opened it, never used it.
Wow.
It was just there. I think my daughter had posted some of my pictures for me just to get me started.
Aww.
That's fascinating. So a producer helped you start your Instagram.
No, he didn't help. He said, do it.
Okay.
So when I came home, I had to have somebody say, help me start an Instagram account. And I had to make up the name and all that. And
what is your Instagram handle for anyone who wants to follow you?
You don't know? Okay. Yes. It's Sandra the Joy. One word.
And what was
what a great handle.
And the name is, my middle name is Joy, but my mom always used to call me her Joy. So I'm Sandra the Joy.
Nice.
Aww.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah.
What was it like? My head of my high school called me a space case. So that's why mine is PaceCase.
Nice.
Oh, jeez.
Let me ask you, what was it like? So you start this Instagram account, the show is airing, people start following you, you start getting 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. What was it like to watch that number go up?
I was flabbergasted. I was telling a friend of mine, people are following me. I've never followed anyone in my life. So people are following me. What is this thing?
Yeah.
What is this?
How do you even do that?
I had no concept of it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was still dealing with Facebook, you know.
Sure.
That was my online presence, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
That's the golden social media.
Facebook's kind of for my generation now. Young folks have kind of moved on, I think.
Hey, I'm still on Facebook Marketplace. Gotta find my free furniture.
So when I wanted to go back to talk about entrances really quick, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, please.
The one entrance I felt so sorry for this young lady was Joey's season, when the young lady came out with a tray and it had under the lid, it had bananas at different side lengths. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do.
I do
so
not.
sorry.
Who was that?
I thought,
let me see if I can
was it
find
about
it in our
like
grid.
A penis length joke?
It was.
Yes.
It was kind of a play on, because I think she asked him something like, which one best describes you? Words to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, no. And of course, she did not get
there's a rich history of penis jokes on limo exits.
That made me feel better about me getting out of the limo and using a 4-letter word.
Yeah,
it did. But anyway,
we've seen people be like, I mean, Caitlin Bristow, I think she's the greatest Bachelor player of all time. Her limo exit, she says, you can plow the fuck out of my field anytime to Farmer Chris. So it's gotta, it might be polarizing for some people, but I love it. You get an intro package in the show, which does indicate preferential treatment by the producers. Not everyone gets that. And later in a pickleball group date, you put your body on the line. Were you looking for an opportunity to dive during this game to show everyone how competitive you were? Or were you just trying to win?
I'm just competitive. When it comes to sports, I was a racquetballer. And
me too.
I didn't like losing. I used to play men's levels because where I was, I beat most of the ladies in the court where I was.
Gosh.
So, but I'd never played pickleball before. I don't think I even heard of pickleball before. But Joey was there to give us a little training session, and I literally pulled him over and I said, talk to me. Tell me how to hold this paddle, what I'm supposed to do and all that. Give me rules. And he was kind of giving all of us an overview, but I wanted something specific because
you wanted
to win. But that's just my nature when it comes to sports.
Me too. Yeah. I used to be an avid racquetball player myself until I tore my ACL. Yeah. Just on a backhand follow through. I felt my knee go and that was it. And then I had to have surgery and all that. And I have not set foot in a racquetball court since then. And that was like 10 years ago.
I've had both my knees replaced because of racquetball.
Really?
Okay. Total, what they call TKRs. Okay.
Yeah.
Total replacements.
Wait,
both
what's
of them.
And it's because of racquetball?
Two
Due to racquetball, absolutely.
Shit.
So you've had a lot of. Is it falling?
Me too.
Or is it just the turns?
Wear and tear.
Hurting the knees?
Jamming, stopping, jamming.
Yeah.
It just. Yeah.
There's nothing like a perfect kill shot in the corner that just rolls off the wall. Nothing like it.
You're
in any sport I've
language.
ever played. I miss it. I miss it a lot, but I think I'm making the right choice. By the way, the woman you were talking about is Zoe Antonia. She was the 26th limo exit on season 28. She came out and says, I have a serious question for you, Joey. Then opens a silver dome and asks him to point to the banana that's most like him. She was a night one player, eliminated on the very first night.
Yes, I know she didn't make it past limo night. But I felt so sorry for her because I thought, oh my God, that's not good. That's not good.
I agree. And some of these limo exits are not, like you said, that you had kind of a sit down and you guys were all throwing ideas around and you kind of all collectively decided like, this is what I'm going to do.
A think tank.
Yeah, that doesn't always happen. Sometimes players will say, I want to do this for my limo exit. And the producers will say, no, you're doing this. And they will just tell you you're coming out with a silver platter full of bananas or whatever the case may be. I don't know in her case specifically if that's what happened. But
I did have a couple other ideas that were
like a table.
So what?
A guy who was made to be a table, Rick Leach, on one of the earlier seasons, was dressed up as a table and his head was in the little platter.
Oh, the dome. Okay.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
I loved Leslie's intro when she had the wig and the old lady moo kind of thing and came out with the walker.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie's
she was in my limo with me and I thought, who's this weird person? She looks weird. And I thought maybe she was a plant or something.
A plant.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Later that she'd done that trick, I thought that was so
You're like, this is the
smart.
night one curveball. We got to play it. I know that's Gary's sister in a wig.
What was that limo ride to the mansion like? Were you guys all talking to each other? Like, was it exciting? Were you nervous? What was it like in the back of that limo?
Well, all of that. Yes. But we were nervous. We were all excited. We were probably more nervous than anything. And then, of course, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know how long the ride was going to be. They had champagne for us. I don't drink, so I faked it. But
nice.
One of the producers was in the limo
That's
with us.
what we recommend in our book, actually.
What?
We recommend fake drinking.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have to fake it because, I have to fake the drinking. I don't drink, so
right.
I just don't drink, period. So, cheers. And
yeah.
So the producer that was in the car with us.
Cheers, suckers. Hope you flame out night one.
No, I think my castmates were drinking. They seemed to be anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were all nervous, of course.
Okay. Now, you revealed at that same group date, the pickleball group date, that you missed your daughter's wedding to be in the show. You got to FaceTime with your daughter. Your daughter gives you the blessing. It's okay. I found my guy. You go find yours. And you wind up getting the group date rose for that.
Yeah.
Were there other people who got to FaceTime with their children, with anybody else in their family around that time? Or were you given kind of like special treatment for that?
I think special treatment. I kind of think the producers, well, or Gary's, whoever created that because they knew that would be a very special and heartwarming thing to do. Of course, Gary and I struggled with the doggone FaceTime on the phone. That was not fake. Okay, that was a real struggle to figure out how we do this.
Okay.
No. And
that's great.
And let me tell you what did not make on air was that my son-in-law also said, and I just love him for this. My son-in-law said, Mom, the ceremony is 8 minutes. The marriage is a lifetime. He said, we're going to celebrate the marriage. You go. Both my kids said, you go on that show. Do not stay here for this. So, ta-da. But I got villainized online for that. I tell you, a lot of people said, what mother would miss her daughters? Well, hello.
What?
They're 50-something years old. They've each been married. He's a grandparent. This is not like they're 20-something and 20 bridesmaids and, the whole hoop. Nah. They were very comfortable with my absence.
Unfortunately is a characteristic of the nation is they tend to go after everyone for everything.
Yeah.
Did you ever get into it with anybody? Did people send you like mean DMs and you sent stuff back, or did you just ignore it all?
Oh gosh.
If I get mean stuff, I either block them or I never respond to that.
Yeah, that's smart. Good strategy.
These are strangers with their opinions. Yes. Did they go on the show? Did they apply? I don't give them any credit or credibility. I don't.
Yeah.
I take every mean thing anyone says to us online very personally, and I try not to. I try to be like, okay, this is a stranger. If they yelled this at me on the street, I would disregard it. So why am I regarding it just because it's on a comment or something?
I don't say mean things to people like that.
Yeah.
I don't say mean things nose to nose. I wouldn't do it online. I just don't.
Yeah. I agree. You definitely don't want to imprint. But I mean, a thing we've kind of learned from doing this podcast is, especially in reality TV, people watch it, and I think they, at home, what we call the fourth audience, like just people watching the show, you feel like you know these people because they are looking at you in a camera. They are talking right to you through the screen. You think you're getting to see all the most important or pertinent parts of the relationship as they're doing whatever they're doing in these reality shows. And the truth is, you're seeing maybe 1/100th of the amount of footage shot. You don't know the context of any of this stuff. You certainly don't know who that person is at all. So we always tell anybody who listens to our podcast, like, if you want to say something nice to somebody, your favorite reality show person, send them something nice, but like never say anything mean, because you have no idea if what you're seeing is even real.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's true. It's very true. And even going back to the game shows that I was on, it's because there are so many moving parts and people and all that kind of thing. And it takes about an hour to tape a game show. Yet, again, it's 44 minutes on air. Or if it's an hour show. If it's a half hour, it's 22, 23 minutes.
Yeah.
So they do a lot of filming and then a lot of editing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been to... I went to One Women Tell All, and we recorded, I want to say 9 hours, and that was maybe a 2-hour show.
Yeah.
What,
well,
9 hours for Women Tell All? No.
It was, I don't know. It was back for Sean Lowe's season.
Oh, okay.
A while ago, but...
I've been to Women Tell All and a Men Tell All, and our Women Tell All.
It wasn't that long. That's good.
No.
Maybe it's
they've cut it down. They had budget
now.
cuts. Speaking of...
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Lizzie.
Speaking of what made it in the edit, another hilarious moment of your comedy reel from this season was in the blooper reel. How did you feel when the producers put the clip of you farting in the reel?
Oh, God, I was embarrassed. Well, again, I'll tell you, kids loved it.
Yeah.
So
I did love it.
In the end, I defer to them. If they loved it, then what the heck?
You had perfect timing. You were like, just hold on 1 second. Did it. And then you're like, okay, you were saying. There was like attitude. I love it.
Part of me with that whole gas scene, and I didn't know that I was already angry because I had been sick and they pumped me full of, I don't know what, electrolytes and stuff. And I had gas. I was so disgusted.
I had
gas. So they make me come in and do that ITM. And I said, okay, wait a second. I got gas. Can we hurry up? Okay, we have a few questions. Okay. But can you hurry up? Question. Okay, I gotta go. Can you hurry up? And then finally I was perturbed enough. I just say, hey, and I let go.
I'm telling you, they were on a group text while you were in there. Keep her in there until she farts. Make sure she farts. We gotta get that on tape. I guarantee they were doing that.
Could you tell I was perturbed because I said you were saying this? I was like,
I just thought it was like sassy comedy.
It came out as sassy.
Was there anything that surprised you about this experience when you were shooting the show?
Surprised me? Nah.
That's
pretty
a
much
pro
what
at
you
the game.
expected going in.
No, I don't know. I didn't have any expectations, but I don't think I was surprised either. I just had to go with the flow, quite frankly. Maybe one thing that surprised me was the mansion and how we were squished for space, and
that surprised me too.
But I think that's part of the psychological. To keep you on the edge of your life or whatever.
100%.
You're stepping into somebody's suitcase to make it to the bathrooms. There wasn't enough room. Oh man! Other than that,
I thought for sure they were going to do a different house with Golden and give some sort of preferential treatment with the beds. No.
Sleeping in the bunk beds in Villa de la Vina. That place is rough, to say the least. It looks much better on TV than it actually is.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. You are now part of the Bachelor family, the franchise.
Yes.
And a lot of what happens for some players is you may not wind up with the lead on your season, but now you're in the family. And so you're going to these social events with players from other seasons. And sometimes you start dating them. And now there is some conjecture that maybe that's happening with you and Gerry Livingston from Golden Bachelorette. Is there any truth to this rumor?
No, unfortunately. No, I think people are so excited about the thought of him and me. We never really, the night that the photos appeared on my Instagram, that night was the
photos appeared on my Instagram.
Well, okay, I posted, my lady that does my technical stuff, and I posted it. But she told me, Sandra, take pictures. So, and America just loved us together. That night he and I tried to have several conversations, but we just got interrupted time and time again. Yeah. So, and I haven't spoken with him since. I reached out to him on Facebook or something. Anyway, I reached out to him and I haven't heard back. So
balls in his court.
By Gerry.
Yeah. But you know what?
Gerry,
he's a good guy. He's a nice man. People love him.
I mean, both of you guys are hilarious. That to me is like, I want to see that comedy show with you two doing whatever, dating on Instagram or whatever the case may be. That's what excited me.
And I feel like
when we had our talent show, but you guys never saw the whole thing. I kicked ass. Anybody in that audience will tell you I was so proud of me. Yeah. So, but all you saw was a portion of one joke.
Yeah.
I did very well.
Maybe they were trying to keep you down and they didn't want you to be the Golden Bachelorette.
No. They just, again, we have 40 minutes to show a group date, a one-on-one date, and a rose ceremony. There's not a lot of time for individual anything, really.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone else who was on Golden Bachelorette that maybe caught you eye other than Gerry?
Oh, yeah. Several of them, but I'm not going to disclose.
Keeping the cards close to the chest.
But I do have to tell you,
watch
Charles
this space.
and I are friends. I mean, really just friends. And he told his castmates, check this out. He told his castmates that he and I were sleeping in the same bed. And they were like, what? What? Well, the truth of the matter is, in the mansion, he and I slept in the same bed.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
That was
comedy.
cute.
That is comedy. That's great.
I don't know. I feel like Golden Bachelor was also, I would say I had this experience probably for the first time where I wanted so many of you to be the next lead. I was like, I just want all these people to find love. Like, it's just,
And
it was heartwarming. The whole show.
And I think that goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning, that like you can tell in the regular Bachelor and Bachelorette, those players are there. Like some of them may be there to like genuinely try and find love, but there's an ulterior motive for all of them. And there's a skepticism about how the producers are treating them. That comes through their performances, I think. But you guys didn't have that. It just felt very much like a real fun experience that you were all having, and you were all happy for each other. If someone else was going to find love with Gerry, that's great. We're happy for you. There was no like animosity, or at least that's how it was, presented. That's what it felt like watching.
And that's how I
cried
felt.
so
and
much.
I think everyone felt the same way. We were happy that Ellen, for example, got that date and got to put those beautiful gowns on and the jewelry. We were happy for her. I was happy for her. I was happy for Leslie when she got her date with Gerry, because I knew she had a thing for Gerry, a big thing for Gerry. So yeah, it was kind of like a sisterhood, or it was very positive.
Yeah,
but I think hey, when you're my age, I'm 70 plus. Who's got time for the?
So, some people do, obviously.
I don't think any of us did.
Speaking of your age, you have been. We're sitting here on a podcast that's going to be on YouTube, talking about a reality TV show you were on, and talking about your Instagram and DMing people. You have lived through the birth of color television, cable television, computers, the internet, streaming, social media, AI,
cell phones,
all of this. What is the most surprising thing to you that has happened over the course of your lifetime in terms of like media technology?
Probably computers, desktop, personal computers.
Yeah.
I remember in 1980 something, I was working at Ma Bell, as they called it. And we had these classes we had to go to learn how to use this computers, big ass thing they stuck in front of us. And the class was called Break the Ice. Oh my God. It's like, I don't want to do this. What does this mean? I was lucky that in middle school, junior high, we called it, I knew how to keyboard because we learned how to do typewriters. We typed up, so I knew keyboarding and home rows and all that. But beyond that, it was crazy. So yeah, personal computer but it was required for the job.
Yeah. What kind of computer was it in 1986? Was it like an Apple IIe, or was it even prior to that? Were you learning how to use like DOS?
It was DOS for sure.
Okay.
But there was two languages. One was called EBCDIC and one was called ASCII. Do you remember those?
Of course.
Okay. But I don't know what the EBCDIC stood for. I don't know what ASCII. Those are acronyms, by the way. I didn't know what ASCII stood for, but that's what they call them. Oh, new language. Okay. But it was scary.
That's a lot to adapt to in the job market.
In the job market. And then we had to start using them to communicate with other employees and the public.
I was just filling out some sort of tax thing, and I was looking for like podcaster in the departments. It's not even there yet. I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'll just say I'm in communications.
Yeah. No, that part of it is like fascinating to me too. The amount of life experience that everybody had in the Goldens, both Bachelorette and Bachelor. You guys have just seen so much stuff that has happened in terms of like, the country's movements socially, politically, technology, like everything. And you bring all of that to this kind of strange, unique experience, which is a reality show about dating on a major network. And I don't know, to me, it makes you like more interesting, kind of well-rounded people. But I guess that is true of anybody who gets to be a certain age,
Yeah. Yeah. We've lived through a lot. Lived through quite a bit. I went to UC Berkeley in the 60s. Can you imagine?
What? I went to Berkeley.
Did you? Oh,
yeah.
Get out. I graduated in 70.
Imagine.
Okay.
Wow.
And I came in. I came in
close.
on Mario Savio's free speech. Graduated on the Cambodian invasion and all the shit that was in between.
Wow.
It was a chaotic 4 years.
Wait, you
I'm
graduated
so
in
jealous.
1970?
I've seen documentaries of people at Berkeley
Wow,
in
he
that
says,
time
look at
period.
it.
No,
Wow.
I mean, those like 1969 in that area specifically is like one of the most iconic places and time periods that has ever existed in humanity.
Yeah.
That must have been a wild time to go through.
It was wild. I matured. I literally had to mature. Because it was crazy on campus.
I would say there's still, at least at that time when I was there still was that like protest culture and stuff. And it was a lot of like Palestine, that kind of thing when I was there. But it felt very much like a pale shadow of like what you lived through.
We lived through a lot. Guns on campus,
Wow.
National Guard, dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody would come and interrupt a lecture and whisper in the professor's ear, and the professor would say, "Okay, listen, we've got to stop class. I want everybody to leave by the north door, head west on campus. Do not go east because there's."
Oh my God!
And we all have to file out at that direction to get. It was crazy. It was crazy. But I'll tell you what else really interesting.
What was your major there?
I'm sorry, what?
So what was your major?
My major was social welfare and psychology.
I was psychology.
For the 60s, that was just right in there. Right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I wanted to help people. I wanted to be positive and significant.
Yeah, change
influence.
the world.
I think you have helped people.
Ah, thank you.
Clearly.
You were about to say something else, though. What were you going to say?
Sorry.
What had I
I don't know. You were on some train of thought, and then Lizzie asked you what your major was. But before that,
Lizzie killed the train.
I know what I was going to say. Coming from high school to that campus, it was the first time I ever got to wear pants to school, because high school girls, we were not allowed to wear pants. We wore dresses and skirts. Okay?
Wow.
So I go to college and whoa, they let us wear pants. This was really cool. And then I would go into lecture hall and people would have their babies and their dogs, and I really had no maturity.
What?
I was a big girl then, being in UC Berkeley with babies and dogs in the lecture hall. And it was a whole new world for me. It was big.
Man, that is wild.
They cracked down on the dogs.
Really? People can't bring their animals?
I don't know. Maybe you can if it's a service animal or something, but I definitely would have remembered that, I think.
Yeah, they brought their dogs
and if you could, like right now, if you could time travel back to yourself and say, like, look, in 2024, you're going to be on a reality show called The Golden Bachelor. You're going to be dating some guy. I mean, you would have to explain what reality TV is. You would have to explain what The Bachelor is. You have to explain what the internet is. How do you think you would have understood that if you could do that? If you could go back and tell yourself?
I don't know if I could understand that.
You would say it's exactly what Alex Michelle did.
It was a big deal going.
You hadn't seen it. It didn't exist.
My husband and I were on the Newlywed Game in '69, so that was cutting edge, if you will. That was reality TV back then.
Yeah, and that certainly is a reality TV show. I mean, the first reality TV show was 1947, Alan Funt's Candid Camera, largely considered to be.
Yes, that's true.
And then it became so many things after that. In the 70s, there was on PBS, The American Family with the Smart Family. I don't know if you ever watched that. It was basically like a docuseries about this family where the parents were going through a divorce. The Loud Family, they were called. It's an interesting show if you've never seen it. But the Newlywed Game also, like, I remember watching this as a kid. They would always say making whoopee. That was that show where they used that phrase, right?
Yes.
Instead of having sex. Yeah.
Yes.
What?
So you were kind of in a show where they did do it was network TV. It wasn't like blue humor exactly. It wasn't quite like your limo exit, but it was in that kind of tone. They did like to get a little cheeky on that show, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So you were trained.
That was probably a no-no, just even talking about making whoopee.
No, that was sometimes the answer. They'd be like, what's your favorite thing to do on a Saturday night?
On the Newlywed Game, they talked about making whoopee. That's the way they captioned.
Yeah, exactly.
Being intimate.
Yes.
Married people.
Yeah.
The fantasy suites.
So you've led this incredible life. You've done this reality show. You're on Instagram now. You're getting 400,000 views on TikTok. Yeah, you went to Berkeley. Where do you see all of this headed? The kind of confluence of technology, media, reality TV, social media. Where do you think we're going in the next couple of years with it all?
We're going to hell in a handbasket.
Okay.
I don't know how to answer that question.
It feels like that. It does feel that way.
I don't know how to answer that. I can't predict the future. I don't know.
I was just curious.
Hey, a year ago, I didn't know what sliding into a DM was. I didn't know what an influencer was a year ago. So
now you are one.
You can still
Somebody called me that not long ago. They said, "You're an influencer." I said, "I am." They said, "Of course." Oh, okay. I didn't know what sliding into a DM was.
Well, hopefully Gerry will be sliding into your DMs.
Yeah. I hope everyone is.
Very soon. Me too.
Wait, I did want to ask you this. Yes. You said your celebrity crush was Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
At some point. Yeah. Did you see Gladiator 2?
I've not yet seen it. I'm going to see it when my youngest daughter, my Emmy daughter, is coming in to town on Christmas, and we're going to go see that. She said, "Mom, don't see it. We're going to see it together."
Fantastic.
Is it good?
Is that he is taken, but what would your type be if someone were to slide into your DMs? Who are you looking for?
Oh God. I like men who are well-groomed, smart, well-groomed, non-smokers, men who love football. I love football.
Ooh.
Don't like
32
football.
favorite teams I saw.
I think we're going to get along very well. What else could I say? I don't know.
I think there's a lot of men who like football, actually.
Yeah. But there's some who don't, and I don't get that. But yeah, or they're going to have to bear with me because this is my time of year.
Yeah, playoffs are coming.
Sunday night, even college ball, Monday night.
Oh, wow.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, what college team do you follow?
I follow the
Just
SEC.
top 25.
Yeah, okay. I follow the SEC. I don't.
Got it. Yeah.
NFL, I have the whole league, 32 teams. I love it.
Do you play fantasy football?
No, I don't do fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get into that either. Did you have any conversations with Jesse Palmer about football?
Not with Jesse. I had conversations with Gerry about football.
Wow. Jesse Palmer would have been great to have a conversation. I mean, he was in the NFL. He played for the Giants.
Oh, I know. I did. In my stand-up comedy routine, I did a joke about him being on the practice squad. And he threw me the ball, and I caught it, then I spun it on the ground.
Oh, wow.
You never saw that. Oh,
God,
one of those
so good.
Yeah. But no.
I bet he made them cut it. He was like, I want people to think I was a starter.
No. They cut it in the interest.
On his season, when he was the Bachelor in season 5, Tiki Barber was in that season with him. They did a little promo with Tiki Barber, like coming to look at they had a binder full of the pictures of all the women that were on his season.
Yeah. But we would have a lot of interaction with Jesse. Jesse would come and go. When he was there, when he was with, he was very friendly. But he's a sweet guy.
He is a sweet man, right? In real life,
he really, really is, and he's doing so well in that. But he would come and go. We didn't have a lot of interaction with him, so
fair enough.
Didn't have a lot of time to chat. But Gerry and I talked football and a lot of things. Yeah.
All right. Well, Sandra, thank you so much for joining us here.
What, you're cutting me off already? What?
Like you said in the very beginning, we have that hard out. We got to get this thing. Yeah.
Has it been an hour? Oh yeah, it has.
We just don't want to take more of your. We don't want to take more of your time.
Precious time.
We so appreciate you coming on here and giving us a fantastic interview. We so appreciate your performance on this season. It was so wonderful.
Thank you.
I hope we're going to be seeing you appear more in game, perhaps, to help host some more dates.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Or be a fairy godmother like for Daisy.
I would love that.
That'd be great. Before we go, tell everybody where they should be following you on your Instagram is Sandra the Joy.
Correct. One word. Sandra the Joy. SANDRATHEJOY.
And no TikTok yet.
Well, I have TikTok. I'm on there somehow. I keep getting messages that such and such a person is looking at you. I don't even know how to get on the doggone thing.
We got to get you on there. We got to get you to start monetizing some of those 400,000 views.
Yeah.
Well, we support your content creation journey.
I had no idea. So I am going to have somebody
You're viral.
It's the next step.
Jesus. Well,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, thank you, Sandra. It was a pleasure. And have a good rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us. And then please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast.